Is it okay now? Can we do our last question? Are we ready for our last question?
It's up to you. You're the boss.
Better be a good one. Last question. No pressure at all.
No pressure. Yeah, sorry.
Make sure you give us your name and location first.
Ryan Thousand, Vail Valley Medical Center in Vail, Colorado. So I've heard you guys talk today, and I want to build upon the interoperability question that was asked. Interoperability, care continuum, whatever you want to call it, care coordination. You said we don't need to incentivize. The government doesn't need to throw any more money. Couldn't agree more. But at the end of the day, there's hundreds of thousands of healthcare facilities across the United States, and you've got not even a small percentage of that when it comes to the big payers. So what are we doing with interoperability? We're lowering risks, right? Who ultimately profits from that? The insurance companies, the payers. So why haven't we put mandates on the payers in the same ways that we have for the individual providers?
Bless your heart. Answer that one. Right back at you.
Well,
mandates.
There are two reasons. One is they do a hell of a job in D.C. Protecting their interests because they are vulnerable and they know it. People don't trust their insurance companies and they don't trust drug companies. So they've done a great job of leveraging that to say, you work with us, we'll work with you. The insurance industry speaks closer to one voice than the delivery system industry. So we don't represent a consensus view of how providers are approaching health care. The range and diversity of opinion of providers doesn't lend itself to a single voice. The Intermountains of the world and the UPMCs, and I can go on. Those organizations are saying, why are we fighting level 3? Interoperability should be table stakes. The people that elected this president just happen to be from a lot of areas that are not exactly like that. So you're going to see a lot of, I think, conflicting tones on this question. And in Washington, if you can't find something where you have no political risk, the easiest thing to do is appoint a commission and let the next administration fool with it. That's where interoperability is going to end up. But this lends itself to something very important here. The provider system is still fragmented, substantially more fragmented than is the payer. I mentioned in that earlier session, you take United, Anthem, Cigna, Aetna, and Humana, you've got 44% of the insurance market. You take the next 35 Blues, you've got 81%. They have the ability to do things that, because we're so fragmented, we haven't. So we're going to see super regional systems of health emerge, and we're going to see from those systems interoperability be table stakes because that's the way we compete. And I don't think it's going to be because of a mandate. And I don't think the federal government's going to throw a lot more money at it. It's going to say, we've kind of set this in motion. You guys are going to have to work this out. And it's going to be very Darwinian.
I'll leave it with one last thought, and that is mainly because they didn't have to. And until they have to, and we all come to the table. And I'll leave us with a non-American quote, which is Winston Churchill, who said, you can always count on Americans to always do the right thing after we've tried everything else. I think we've tried everything else, and now the great leaders in this room, what I would refer to as the revolutionary leaders, need to come together and solve it. This is a great place to do it this week. Thanks.